What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Juan Manuel Marquez. Get this, Marquez states that Canelo Alvarez will never be the best Mexican champion. And the reasons for that is because of the positive drug test a couple years ago, the constant rehydration clauses that he implements on his fights like he did with Kovalev. The close call fights that a lot of people thought he lost, and he was awarded the winner. And those are the things that Juan Manuel Marquez criticizes him for. You know, the Kovalev fight, if he came in, he would get fined and those type of things. And what do I say about Juan Manuel Marquez? Look, Marquez has always been a critic, a very, very critical over Canelo Alvarez, because he's seen what Canelo Alvarez has done in his career, but he's also seen the favoritism and the power that surrounded Canelo. So you understand, Canelo wasn't like a Marco Antonio Barrera or a Juan Manuel Marquez or a Jorge Paez or a Yori Boy Campos. He wasn't those type of fighters. On Miguel Angel Gonzalez, he wasn't those type of fighters. He wasn't this guy that just fought and fought and fought and fought his way to a particular opportunity. The opportunities were given to him by his promoter, Oscar de la Hoya, which had one of the biggest, most popular, surging promotional companies at the time. Okay, he picked up Canelo Alvarez from another smaller Mexican promotional company and took him to higher heights. You had guys like Deontay Wilder, Danny Swift Garcia, Keith Thurman, and then you had guys like Canelo Alvarez, which Oscar de la Hoya played more interest in and invested in more by getting him those top fights. He got him the Mayweather fight. He come up short, you know, but all the other fights after that, it looked like you had to kill him or knock him out twice to get even a draw, because he never lost decisions. Okay, so Juan Manuel Marquez was looking at this guy, coming from a guy that foiled his rival and knocked him out cold and retired and told everybody where to go after that fact. You know, he was the one that sealed the legacy without a shadow of a doubt by knocking out Manny Pacquiao, which was one of the best of the era. So I can understand Juan very much more critical of him. You know, like if we look at the close fights, we had the Lotta fight, which a lot of people, it was controversial, no doubt about it. They didn't want to give the man a rematch. Okay, that was a done deal. You know, that was skeptical. Then we had Triple G. They waited a long time to fight Triple G, mind you. Okay, but then they fought Triple G. Triple G outpointed them and out-hustled them a great bit, but they call it a draw. Okay, now mind you, before he went up to fight Gennady Golovkin, he wanted to bring him to 157, 158. He was fighting at 155, which was called a Canelo weight. Bars. So that's what this was about with Canelo. Canelo had a lot of favoritism. And a lot of fighters, if you look at a fighter like Juan Manuel Marquez, kind of old school, that had to do everything the right way, did everything, even drank pee to make himself a little stronger, to give himself an edge in fights that he didn't lose, he didn't win anyway, which was in Mayweather's gym, Mayweather's fight. He's not going to respect Canelo. He's not going to respect the rematch clauses, especially when you're trying to weight drain a guy to get an advantage. That's not respectable. But understand, he ain't the one that started that, Juan. You got to blame the man that beat you, and his name is Mayweather. And speaking of Mayweather Marquez, let me give you guys a history lesson on Marquez and Mayweather. Mayweather agreed to come in at 144 pounds for Marquez. He came in at 146 pounds, giving him, I think, $200,000 or $300,000 per weight he was over. So he came in purposely bigger. It ain't like Floyd can't make weight. Floyd just knew he wasn't going to make it. I'm not making that little shit. I'm not making that shit. I'm going to pay him to beat him. I'm just going to pay him to beat him. I'll pay the fine. He going to get his ass in the ring, though. I'm going to tax that ass, too. That's what Floyd did, okay? So, if anything, he knows about catch weights himself, because he's fought at catch weights. The drug thing, okay, that will always follow Canelo. And I know when Canelo hears about Juan talking about drugs and cheating, He's going to have something to say, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say. But at the end of the day, you tested positive for the stuff. We'll never know if you intentionally wanted to do it. But what we've seen is what's in your body. We've seen the results, and the results, it came down to what you had in you. So he's making that apparent. And Juan also mentioned that he was picking his own fights. Listen, again, you have to go to the man that started doing that shit the whole time. You know the difference between Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones Jr.? You know the difference between those two? Roy didn't pick fights. Roy, everyone that called him out, he fought. That was the difference between Roy. Y'all put in front of me, I'm going to knock him out. Y'all do what y'all need to do. Y'all must have forgot. That kind of guy. He will beat everyone that said they couldn't beat. He couldn't beat. Floyd does pick his own opponents. But what happens when people break off some of that fruit from fighting Floyd, they adapt this mentality of doing what they want to do in the sport. That's the problem. So I think if Juan needs to blame anybody, he should blame where he got it from. And that's Floyd Money Mayweather. Money Mayweather. So is he right? I think at times he can be biased because he think Danny Jacobs beat Canelo. I don't think he beat Canelo. You know what I mean? But then, I also see a sense of someone that doesn't tolerate the hype. He doesn't tolerate the hype, and he sees what a person can do because he was once upon a time one of those guys that did miraculous things in the sport of boxing, but he did it in a way that he wasn't favored. Okay. Maybe he doesn't like Canelo because he's favored. Maybe it's some Lennox Lewis like Anthony Joshua type shit. I'm not sure. But one thing I can tell you for sure, Juan Manuel Marquez has always been overcritical of Canelo Alvarez. So the thing we need to really focus on is what Juan Manuel Marquez said. Did what he said about Canelo actually make sense? Was it true? Was it truthful? Yes, it was. He does pick his fights. He does go pick and choose what he wants to do based on who he is. And that's just wrong. He should fight the guys that are the best, that are more qualified to beat him or to fight him. That's what he should do. No ifs and buts about it. But at the end of the day, this is what we're going to have. And, it's the sport that I love that I hate so much. So hopefully Canelo will fight someone eventually that we do want him to fight. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Juan Manuel Marquez blasting Canelo Alvarez and saying that he will never be a Mexican superstar of Mexico. Tell me what you think. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.